Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, bringing you some of the best college football news, predictions, and analysis. It is the most wonderful time of the year, bowl season. And right here at the Gridiron Expert, we have taken it upon ourselves to predict every single bowl game, from the Frisco Bowl to the Citrus Bowl to the College Football Playoff to the National Championship. You will receive detailed analysis and predictions for all 40 bowl games. And today we are kicking things off with the first bowl game of the 2019 postseason, the Bahamas Bowl, between the Buffalo Bulls of the MAC and the Charlotte 49ers of the Conference USA. And regardless of what happens down in the Bahamas, history will be made in this matchup, as each program is searching for their first bowl win in school history. Buffalo 0-3 all-time in the postseason, while Charlotte is making their first ever bowl appearance in program history. And they are doing it with a first-year head coach in Will Healy, the second youngest head coach in the entire FBS at 33 years old. So what better way to make your first bowl appearance as a head coach and to make your first bowl appearance for your program than by going to the Bahamas? I can't ask and couldn't think of anything better. When you look at Buffalo and Charlotte going into this game, they are fairly even offensively. Both teams averaging a little over 31 points per game, and both teams riding a lot of momentum coming into this game. Charlotte riding a 5-game winning streak coming in to Friday night's matchup, and then Buffalo scoring 40 points or more in 4 of their last 5 games, and of course in those 4 games they actually won. So Buffalo and Charlotte both sitting at 7-5 and both carrying a lot of momentum coming into the postseason. That's exactly what you want out of your football team. Defensively, though, that might be where the difference is made in this game. Offensively, I expect teams to meet each other stride for stride. So it's going to be a matter of who can create a stop, who can get a turnover. And I'm leaning more towards the Buffalo way on that. Charlotte's defense allowing 32.5 points per game, an abysmal mark. A very bad mark. They've still been able to win 7 games. So give the 49ers some credit. Despite the bad mark of over 30 points per game allowed defensively, they still won 7 because they're able to rack some points up offensively. Buffalo, they're only allowing 22.3 points per game. So that's an over 10-point difference in points per game allowed. And I would say maybe just a little bit that when you look at the schedules, Buffalo has maybe faced a slighter difficult schedule than Charlotte. I know the debate could rage on whether the MAC is more difficult than the Conference USA or vice versa. But right now, when I look at it, the teams that Buffalo has played, the way they have performed, I would take the Bulls and their strength of schedule just slightly over the Charlotte 49ers. So there are a couple major storylines that we have to watch out for going into this Bahamas Bowl. And the first one sticks on the offensive side of the ball. And this one pertains to Charlotte here. Can they remain balanced in this game? If you watch the Charlotte 49ers this season, I'm sure many of you have not, but if you go back and look, they have one of the more balanced offense, I would say, in all of college football, statistically. They're averaging 212.6 passing yards per game and 210.4 rushing yards per game, led by their running back and Benny LeMay, who is the second all-time leading rusher in Charlotte history. Second all-time leading rusher in school history. So they have a very, very balanced offense. Benny LeMay is racking it up on the ground. And then you've got Chris Reynolds, the sophomore quarterback for the 49ers, playing extremely well under Will Healy's system. But when you look at the defense, once again, the Buffalo defense, which we said could be a difference maker, is allowing just 95.3 rushing yards per game. So their defense very stout against the run. Charlotte, as we mentioned, averaging over 200 rushing yards per game. So once again, as we've said all season long and in multiple other matchups, something's got to give here. Either Charlotte is going to continue their success and dominance on the ground, or they're going to struggle and have to rely more on the pass with Chris Reynolds. And that may be the approach that Will Healy and his 49ers squad need to take, as Buffalo is allowing over 200 passing yards per game. So it might be a situation where they try to get LeMay going as much as they can, but don't expect much out of him. Chris Reynolds might have to win this game through the air against a more, vulnerable passing defense from Buffalo. Another storyline you want to watch here sticks on the ground game, but this time pertaining to Buffalo. JARET Patterson, a phenomenal running back that you guys probably haven't even heard of. But the numbers that he has been putting up over the final few weeks of the regular season have been outrageous. Outrageous numbers from JARET Patterson. And when you look at it, you wonder, can he keep up the success against a Charlotte defense that's allowing 190.8 rushing yards per game? Nearly 200 rushing yards per game Charlotte is allowing. And that's bad news for them, considering Patterson in their 49-7 win over Bowling Green, not a powerhouse, not a great team, I get it. But in that 49-7 win, had 298 rushing yards, and not as a team, by himself, 298 rushing yards, and then 192 rushing yards against a solid Toledo team that just missed out on making a bowl game. Usually one of the bigger powerhouses in the MAC. So 192 versus Toledo, nearly 300 versus Bowling Green State. You look at that and you look at how vulnerable the Charlotte defense is, and you just wonder, can the 49ers shut down Patterson? Can he keep up the success? And if they can't, it could get ugly really fast for the Niners in their first ever bowl appearance. We've talked so much about the run game. We talked about LeMay. We talked about Patterson and how big of a role both of those players are going to be in a game like this. And so when you hear about the run game, you automatically think about a game being won in the trenches. You got your defensive line and your offensive line. Who's going to win that battle? And really, it's a toss-up, guys, because listen to this. Charlotte has this guy on defensive end named Alex Highsmith who has 14 sacks on the season. That's tied for second in the entire country. We all know who's first. That's Chase Young, the Heisman finalist, over at Ohio State, playing in the college football playoff, 16.5 sacks. And I know many people will say, well, he's doing that in the Big Ten, and Highsmith is doing that in the Conference USA. Imagine what Chase Young could do in the Conference USA. Sure, but I don't take away anything from what Highsmith is doing this season. 14 sacks, tied for second in the nation. But Highsmith, along with the rest of the Charlotte defensive line that has been fairly well this season, is going up against a Buffalo offensive line that's allowed 8 sacks all year. So you can make a case that Buffalo has one of the best offensive lines in the entire country. 8 sacks they've allowed all season long. That is almost unheard of. That's unbelievable from any offensive line. I don't care what conference you are in. So you're looking at this. Who's going to win that battle? Will Buffalo continue that success, protecting their quarterback, continuing JARET Patterson to have that success on the ground? Or will Charlotte and Highsmith break through that offensive line and create havoc and make life difficult in the backfield for this Buffalo offense? That's going to be a huge difference maker and a huge storyline to watch in a game like this. So who are we taking in the Bahamas Bowl? Who are we taking? Of course, we promised you a prediction just like we will for every other bowl game. In a game like this, after everything we have mentioned, we are taking Buffalo in a high-scoring affair. You look at the numbers. You look at how much success Charlotte has had offensively. The same for Buffalo. I like Buffalo's defense a lot more than Charlotte, and that is why we are going with the Bulls in this one. I like Buffalo's defense way more than Charlotte. I expect this game to be close through the first half. But I do expect Buffalo to pull away later on. They have a coaching edge there by far. Will Healy making his first bowl appearance with a program that's never been to the postseason. Buffalo's at least been there before. Some of these players have played in the postseason. Their coaches have coached in the postseason. Their defense owns an edge against a solid Charlotte offense, but one that I think Buffalo, if they take away Benny LeMay in that running game, will make life difficult for Chris Reynolds. I do not expect Charlotte to get much pressure in the backfield. I think Buffalo's offensive line stands tall. So in a shootout, Buffalo pulls away late and wins the first game of this 2019 postseason and clinches their first bowl win in program history. So an unbelievable mark for the Bulls, who have finished the season 8-5. Charlotte, nothing to take away from them, going 7-6 in Will Healy's first year. The future looking very bright for the 49ers. So guys, I want to thank you for watching us here on YouTube. Make sure to like this video and check out everything in the description below. We've got plenty more bowl predictions coming your way over the remainder of the season. But in the description, there's some more college football content and offers, including spread picks for every single bowl game as well. So do not miss out on that. And once again, thank you for watching. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on the Gridiron Expert.